y'all. How you doing? Yes, I am not home, but that's okay. We still doing this thing, right? That's what we're gonna do. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Thursday. Happy Thankful Thursday. Come on in the room. Let me know y'all here. I hope that my signal keeps up. This is the benefit of having an adult child. Yes, Micaiah is driving, and I am in the passenger seat. So don't worry. Anybody saying, "Hey, Paris, don't film while you're driving," because I'm not driving. So come on in the room so I can know y'all here. Say hi to me so we can get this thing on there popping. How was your day? Did you have a productive day? Did you have a restful day if you were supposed to be resting, right? It just depends on what the purpose of today was, right? So whichever it is, I'm hoping that you had it, right? So, all right. So we're still in our self-care series, guys. And if you guys have been on with me any length of time, you know that we have been uh, going on about self-care. The word that we've all heard about, the thing that we know is all true, but really looking at it from a more of a, it's not just a spa day, it's not just a nail day, but it literally has to do with your mental, emotional, physical, social health, all of those things, all of the above, and how to make sure that it's not something that is transactional, but it's something that is something that you actually look at as something that is a daily maintenance, right? If not daily maintenance, weekly maintenance, something that you do regularly, right? Part of your regimen. That's the best way to say it. And I hope you guys have been taking these nuggets and really applying them. I hope you've really been able to see the benefit of why you want to make sure that you properly make a self-care plan, stick to it, and why it is an investment in yourself. This is something that I'm hoping by the end of July that we really take this thing seriously. I tell people to get self-care all the time. I have to remind myself to do my self-care regularly. Some things, some things not. But I want us to understand how necessary it is and how absolutely necessary it is to our mental health, to our emotional health, our physical health, and just to us as a whole, right? If you're not an advocate for yourself, who else will be, right? I mean, that's what we have to just remember. So today, well, first of all, I also want to remind you guys, if you haven't shared yet, please share, because you just don't know who could use something like this. And you know how I feel, everybody can use it, right? So I want to make sure that uh, we are passing along. That's kind of a love letter type of thing. Like if you love somebody and you know that you need to learn this, then why not share with them so they can learn as well? So I'm excited about that. So you guys share if you can. Trying to wait for a few people to come on, but that's okay. You could always catch the replay. And like I said, I'm on my way to an event, so I can't really stay on super long as far as and waiting. So today I want to talk about self-care for our mental self. We talked about self-care for our spiritual self, because first you have to get in touch with yourself to understand and to really believe that you are worthy of self-care, right? That's the first thing you have to do. Then we talked about self-care for your emotional self, how it's super important for you to be in touch with your emotions, so that you're always not all over the place emotionally, so that your emotional health is intact, right? There are pivotal things that I explained. So if you haven't seen that, go back and watch that live. We talked about the physical things, and I know the physical things we know about, like going to the spa, um, and maybe getting your nails done and stuff like that. But those that have, we related to them to how they are less about the outside, but more about what it does for the inside, and how even though those are not the only things, they are important. Um, and so you should check that one out as well. Um, and I think on Tuesday we talked about uh, which one did we talk about on Tuesday? Do, 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 do. I don't remember. We talked about another one on Tuesday, but today we're going to talk about self care for. I don't know. Isn't your whole life about mental health? And the answer to that will be yes. My whole life is about mental health. However, this time when I'm talking about your mental self, I'm talking about for your mind. Um, Oftentimes you hear me talk about your mind and your thoughts and how it's important for you to make sure that you keep your perspective, your mindset um, regulated, that it is healthy, that you heal from anything that you need to, so that it can stay healthy. Um, and that is true. But we're talking about your mental health right now. We're talking a lot more about your psychological well-being. Okay, and that includes everything that we normally do to take care of ourselves, but it also includes some things specifically to keep our mind in a good shape. Um, and there are a lot of good things that we can do to make sure this is the case. So, one of the things I want to bring up that I thought was really good is I hear some people talk about doing things to stay sharp in their mind, right? And I actually think that's super, super necessary. Whether it's you're being older or whether it's you not been in school for a while, I think it's always a benefit for you to invest your time in keeping your mind sharp. And what does that look like to you? Well, one of my favorite things it looks like is to read a book, any type of book. At first, I used to say read a book that's going to improve your financial skills. Read a book that's going to improve your parenting skills. Read a book that's going to improve your social skills, your skills for career purposes, all of those things. And those, everything I said is important to read a book, even if it's just a pleasurable book, right? Even if it's just something for you that's enjoyable. I used to think that if I did not read a book that was adding to me in some way, that I was wasting my time. And how wrong was I? Um, the the simple act in reading a book, it sharpens your brain. It requires hand-eye coordination, well, sight, mind coordination, a few different senses. It helps you to use this computer we have. The mind is a magnificent thing. And I don't think that we understand it's a muscle, just like everything else. And if you don't use it, you don't exercise it, it's not going to stay as sharp as you want. And if I had any regret, it would be to do that so much more. But not beating myself up, just saying that that was something that, if there was one thing I think that people can do to really sharpen their mind, period, point blank, is reading anything. And I did beat myself about not reading many books, but someone had to remind me. I did read lots and lots of articles. Um, I am addicted to collecting information. Some people might call it useless information, but when I get my mind or my eyes or my attention locked in on something, I would just consume the information. And so So I did read stuff. It just wasn't like a real book. So that's the first thing I think. I think reading definitely is necessary for your mental health, or your mind and keeping your puzzles. I'm not against that. Puzzles are great. Something else I like to say is critical thinking. And I know that sounds so funky, sounds so super or whatever. But first of all, we should be doing critical thinking every part of our life. Um, but there are things that are more that take more critical thinking um, than others. And so sometimes I notice that we shy away from things that you have to think about that takes more than a simple solution. And I just say don't shy away from those things. Like sometimes it's not going to be the easy answer. Sometimes it's not going to be the easy role. But I'm telling you, whenever I take the time to think something through and come up with a solution, um, it really, I know it sharpens me. Um, I know it sharpens me much more than than I really realized until after the fact. And I really feel like the fulfillment that I get after I do it, it reaffirms me, right? Some people are reaffirmed with positive admiration or whatever, good words, but I don't necessarily need a good word. If I know that I did something well, or if I know I found a solution um, to something that we could not figure out previously, then it really makes me feel really good about myself. And so it's really important for me to, I think it's important for me to push more people to be critical thinkers. Sometimes I see people just kind of push it off to the person they think, oh, well, you think better or you have a better mind. And I think that comes from sometimes past hurt, past rejection, where, we kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy when someone tells you that, oh, you can't do something, oh, you're not smart enough to figure that out, and then you start actually believing them. And then so now you start actually living up to the idea that you couldn't possibly do that. You couldn't possibly think like that, right? And I believe some of that prevents people from even trying. So I think being a critical thinker, not shying away from the hard things, really is something good for your mind. It is, I promise you, self-care. Um, and that leads me to the next thing, learning something new. Listen, whether you have to read a book, whether you go on YouTube and figure it out, whether you go on TikTok or Instagram and follow somebody, I don't care what you do. Learn something new. Learn something new. You're never too old to learn something new. This is funny, this computer. You are never too old to learn something new. And I want to just remind you that that is being kind to yourself. That's self-care to your mind. Every time you learn something new, you enhance who you are. Just think about it like you raise the value of your stock. Every single time you learn something new, it is beneficial to you as a whole. And it helps your mind tremendously because it's reminding, again, it's a muscle. It's a muscle. You really have to use it regularly in order to get the benefits of it completely, right? Sometimes we don't even think how we need to think. That's where you need to park. We don't think how we need to think. Pull right here right now. Because we're not really engaged enough in our mind, in our mental status. Like I feel like we're not. You can park right here. That's fine. Yeah. Just right here for right now. How to say this? I'm trying to say it the right way. There are times when you're very limited in your thinking because you don't put much time into thinking. If that makes sense to you guys, like I feel like I see some people that give up too quickly before they get to the answer. They get frustrated with not knowing for however amount of time, and they say, forget it, I can't do it. And I feel like you shorten your the spectrum of thought. And it's not just about that problem. You have to think bigger than that. It's not about one problem, one solution. It's about your mind as a whole. It's not going to be easy for you to accept, to embrace all the things we're talking about with mental health, emotional health, physical health, financial health. It's not going to be easy for you to get that stuff if you are very one-dimensional. And this is not me talking about anybody. This is me saying, hey, learn something new. Expand your mind. You know how they say a mind is a terrible thing to waste? I mean, that's a real thing. It's true. You don't use it, you do lose it. And when I say you lose it, you don't lose your mind per se, but you lose your processing power. Your mind is like a computer. So if you're not activating it regularly, using it regularly, and stretching it, it's not going to be able to do everything you need it to do. I mean, so I know we're talking about self-care, but this is important when we talk about the mind, preserving your mind. I see some people that are mentally sharp that are in the 80s, 90s. That's because they constantly use their mind. They're constantly learning something. They're constantly doing something new. That's what's necessary. And then I see some people that's in their 20s that seem like they can't use common sense and they can't, put A plus B because they're not training it the right way. They're really not doing anything that's helpful. They're literally just doing the bare minimum. And I want us to get to a point where we understand that is hurting. They're only hurting themselves. So that's not a good thing. So those are some things that's really going to help your mind stay sharp so that you can do everything you need to do. You're not going to be able to really even to really be able to function. Sometimes you wonder why you can't think of the ideas you need to think of, why you can't come up with the solutions to your problems, why you need someone else. Some of the stuff is just because you're not in the critical thinking room long enough. You're not exercising it. So hopefully that makes sense. Here's a couple of other things. And I mean, if I'm not making sense, tell me to slow down, right? If you need me to give more examples, let me know and I will. This is something that I saw that was super, super dope, and I like this one here. It said, do a mental detox or mental cleanse. And I had not heard of that before. I thought I didn't hear of it before, but then I realized I did hear of it. I just didn't hear of it like this, right? And so when they say mental cleanse or detox, it's the same thing. Remember, we talked about detoxing from the identities people put on you or roles people put on you. This is a little different. This is similar in the fact that it's a detox, but it's different because you're going to, in this case, rid and eliminate bad things from your mind. And you're thinking, like, what bad things are there that I can eliminate from my mind? Well, bad thoughts, limiting beliefs, negative emotions, and habits that do not serve you. I love that. When I saw that, I was just like, that's dope. It sounds super. It might be oversimplified in this moment. However, I still think it's necessary for us to talk about it, right? There's a lot of effort that has to go into that because you have to get to a point where you are understanding that it's detoxed, and that you have to be intentional about it, right? So one of the things that I think are the first thing that you need to do is do something called a brain dumping session. And I was amazed at this because I was like, wow, so it actually has a name for it. And you're thinking, what is a brain dumping session? A brain dumping session is literally where you get rid of the mental clutter. And when we talk about mental clutter, remember what I talked about? Sometimes we have like this stuff that's stuck on our head and it never comes down, and it's just it's clouding everything. Like, we can't think straight because there's so much in our brain and in our minds that's not allowing us to function the way we need to. It's not we can't think clearly because it's just so much clutter there, right? So that the process of the brain dumping session, I think, is super dope. It's necessary. How can you do that? I think one of the best brain dumping sessions I think of is taking a pen and paper and starting to journal, and starting to get those things from out of your mind onto paper. That's and it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be a wonderful paragraph. It doesn't have to be a wonderful essay. It literally can just be a few sentences. It could be, if you don't have sentences, write some words down, right? Like I've done what is that called? Brainstorming. I've done a brainstorming session with my mind. I've literally just sat there and just start writing words, start and letting it flow out of my mind. And the type of relief that I felt for getting it from all up here, because it felt like it was stuck in some funnel. The relief that I got from being stuck to coming down was like none other. It was like none other. And it was so helpful. So that's one way that you can do it. Another thing with a brain dumping session is sometimes you can talk, and the best thing is you can do it with friends, but the best thing is to get a therapist. Y'all know how I feel about that. And definitely go ahead and talk it out and really just say, just kind of almost, I've heard people call it verbal diarrhea. I don't like to use that terminology, but if I have to liken it to anything, but just that whole release, the release of it all, right? And I mean, I guess you can say like, a dump, like, I don't know. I don't want to make it like that. It sounds gross, but it's not gross. It's good and it's necessary, right? So that's one way. Another thing was shifting your focus to things that you can control. Love it, love it, love it. So necessary. Shifting things that you can control. Oftentimes we carry false burdens and we get stressed out over things that we have no power over, and it's unnecessary. And we literally are caught up because we really are carrying a false burden, or the idea that we are stressing over things that we literally cannot change if we wanted to. So it becomes a point of you stressing out, you consuming your mind. Have you tried to sleep before or tried to do a task and you literally can't because you're stressing about something? And then find out that you're stressing about something that you literally can't do anything about at all. It's so wasteful. It's so wasteful, and it's so in excess that you don't even realize it. So that is something that you need to do. That's simple, right? That's simple. And I know it doesn't sound so simple all the times, but I'm saying it's simple as in it doesn't take, it's not impossible to do. It's just, it takes effort. That's what we said, right? It takes some effort. And here's another one, allowing yourself to feel the emotions. Remember we talked about that. Allow yourself to feel the emotions. Don't try to guard yourself against them. Let yourself feel them and then release them. And then understanding what it's like to embrace stillness. Stillness is so important. I know we talked about meditation one time, not too long ago. That's good too. And that's necessary. But stillness sometimes is literally just the act of your mind, you being still physically, your mind coming to a still point. Meditation is a good vehicle to get you there, but just practicing stillness is so necessary. It's so necessary. So that's another thing for you to do that's going to be good for your self-care. Understanding and practicing that so you can know what you need to do. And being careful about and intentional about the stillness, right? It's not something that is a one-time thing. It's not transactional. It's just a thing of saying, you know what? I need to learn how to be alone with my thoughts, my feelings. I need to learn how to not hide in busyness. I don't know who I'm talking to there, but we have all done that. Hide in busyness. I literally keep myself busy so that I don't have to deal with this. I keep myself busy so I don't have to feel this. I keep myself busy. I put myself in my work. I put myself in my family events and my friends things and social groups and social events so that I don't have to really deal with what life is dealing me. And so that is not good for your. It's overwhelming to you, and it puts a heavy strain on you that you don't need, and you actually need to actually deal with the actual thing that's going on. So stillness is so necessary to be able to start to do the work for that, right? Um, let's see. So what else? Another one that I want to go ahead and talk more into, um, a digital detox. We don't talk much more about that. We don't talk much about that, but I am learning that I found out through a different method that a digital detox is necessary. We are literally our technology has really had us in a place where information is in our fingertips, on our phones, on our computers, on our iPads, on our tablets. We literally have the ability to get information in 30 seconds. It's just that fast now. I was trying to tell my son about how we used to have to print out maps from MapQuest, and now you have the GPS on your phone now. You literally can do the GPS for your phone, and you don't have to worry about anything. You don't need to buy anything additional. Somebody says, "Where's a restaurant?" You can Google it or whatever search engine you use to get to your information. It's so easy, and nowadays you can talk to it to get something. While that's all great, the downside of some of those things is, like we told somebody the other day, if you lose your phone, you almost could have a heart attack, because do we even remember phone numbers anymore? I know I don't. And I know that's a horrible habit to have, but I don't remember anymore. And so if I don't have my phone and I don't have your number memorized, I have no way to get in touch with you. And so I've been making it like intentional to start to try to remember some people that I love phone numbers, so that if something goes down, I can call somebody if I need to. Um, because it's literally, we're dependent on these devices. And so a digital detox is necessary. We're on social media all the time. And don't get me wrong, I'm on it every day. I use it for so many different things, and I don't think anything's wrong with it necessarily. But you do need to do a detox from it. You need to learn when to turn it off. You need to understand and be kind to yourself, because that constant scrolling, that constant consuming information, that constant um, keeping up with everything that's online, um, it's not really that nice to your brain, right? It really isn't. Um, you really, while the tools do give us more productivity and save us time, it can also provide a lot of distraction and just digital noise. Like, it's so easy for us to waste our time. We don't even realize it. And sometimes you think you're being still, but you're not being real still. You're not being present in the moment. And for me, that's something I found was so true. I wasn't being present. I found I was at my dinner table with my phone. I found I was on dates with my phone, which is horrible. But I don't think it was that horrible, because I feel like if they were keeping me entertained, I would have to be on my phone. Sorry, that was a little bit something else, but whatever. Um, I've been with friends that I really want, and on my phone. And usually I don't do it till I get bored. But even then, I feel like it's a cop out. And I'm speaking to myself too. It was a cop out for me. The conversation's getting dry, getting awkward silence. We ran out of things to talk about. And so it's easy for me to pick my phone up and be distracted. And they might be distracted too. But instead of staying in the conversation, pushing it to a place like we used to do, we get so we're very easy to depend on our devices. When's the last time you've been to a party and everybody is on their phone, not interacting, not sitting next to each other, not talking to each other? It's horrible. I hate it. I feel like it was very common now for everybody to be on their phone at a party. That's what I'm like, not that I party like that anymore, but if I did, it's just not that, it's not desirable. Who wants, part of going to events was to meet new people, but sometimes people get so caught up in their phones, you're not even meeting people. So We have to be very, very thoughtful about the distraction of the phone. Not even when we think we're being still, but we're using the phone to do it. I had to be careful. I can't have my phone on me at night when I'm trying to go to sleep, because I'll scroll, and end up, tired, but scrolling for an extra hour. It's extremely hurtful to me. Um, you need to, how. Here's a couple of things I've learned. You can put a timer on your phone when to not bother you. I used to be scared to do that. I'm like, what if it's an important call? What if this? What is that? Listen, certain times a day, you can. Well, I know Apple does it. I'm pretty sure you can do it on Android too. Where now, if you have like certain emergency numbers, like I might say, whenever my mom calls, it's an emergency to me after a certain time, right? I know she wouldn't normally call. And I can say anytime my son calls after a certain time, I want to hear from him and it's an emergency. You can learn and put those people on there and then say, okay, after this time, my phone, I don't want to ring unless it's these people. That's how you control your access points. I think we can all do them. We all have to do a better job at that. It really will help you out with your mental self-care. And then if you also don't know what to do, is if outside of that, try a whole day with no TV, no phone, no computer. And if a whole day sounds intimidating, start a couple of hours, but challenge yourself. You probably won't realize how much energy you put into that and how much energy that you have and mind power that you can redirect. Listen, I did a 30-day social media detox where I wasn't on social media for a whole 30 days. And let me tell you something. I think I read 5 books. I think I wrote every day. It was so good. It was so good. I was able to do a lot of things that I said I didn't have time to do, because you don't think about that time that you count up with social media that you're losing. So I think those are important things. If I haven't said this enough, here's another thing. Take a mental health day at work. Or even if you're an entrepreneur, take you a day. Take you a day. I really believe that we need to do this more often. Even if you can't take it off at work, take you a day where you're not dedicated to doing everything for everyone else. Not running errands. Not constantly busy on the move, but just for you. And do something, whether it's learning how to meditate and be still, whether it's journaling, whether it's the reading, go sitting in nature or in a park, just sitting out at the beach with the sun on your skin. Whatever you do, turn off that phone and just be in the moment. Disconnect from the world. Be in your mind. Give yourself the luxury of that. I don't think we have that. I don't think we do that enough. I don't think we do any of this enough. So I think it's super impactful and necessary once you really become intentional about doing these things for your mental health, for your mind. This is when I talk about self-care. It's all important. It's all necessary. This is not for somebody else. This is for you, right? This is absolutely for you. You have to do this and be more intentional about all these things, okay? And so I hope you guys got something from this. I think it's really super important to take these things into account and to practice them. So if you're just getting on, I'm finishing up, but those are a couple of things I just wanted to share. I think they're really helpful because as long as you have a strong mind, you can do anything with a strong mind. And I'm tired of people saying, I can't, I'm dumb, I can't do these things. No, you just don't practice doing things with your mind. And so these are some important things we can do that is self-care for our mind. And when we start doing them, like the possibilities are endless. They're endless. They literally are endless. So I hope this helped. Please share this with somebody. I would say if maybe you could think of somebody to share with, but I'm telling you, everybody needs self-care tips. So just share it on your page or tag somebody in here that you know that can benefit from this. And and use these things for yourself. I told y'all we're gonna start writing down what we want in our self-care regimen. You might not use everything I say, but you need to pick something from each category, each type, from mental, emotional, physical, social, all that, and make sure you're intentional about using these things, right? And so I'm super excited about how the series is going. I hope you guys are learning a lot. And until the next time. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, a good weekend. I will see you guys on Tuesday. And don't ever forget that you are enough. And you're enough to do this thing called self-investment, aka self-care. You're worth it. And if you don't believe it, I'm going to keep telling you till you do. You're worth the time and investment, the effort and the energy. It's only going to make you better. And that's what I'm here for, to make sure that you make yourself better. All right, guys. Love you all. Have an amazing day. Talk to you later. Bye.